Neewern, Narik Dien, Wadarang Akdanuk, Makbarian, Wadarang Bagaruk, Manamaith, Mirabea, Nailinga, Wadarang Bake, Karingarabu, Bunja the Eagle, Wa the Crow, Kimbani Ba, Deanne Gilson. Welcome to Wadarang Country.
Live from Wadarang Country, welcome to Lance TV. Coming to you from the palatial New Camp Street Studios in Ballarat, get ready to laugh, think, love and sparkle. And now, it's time to turn that camp dial all the way up to fabulous. Here's your host, the multi-award winning Lance-tastic, Lance de Boyle.
Oh, Breezy, you're so funny. Oh, you hanging out up there like that. Hi, hello everybody. You're watching Let's TV. I'm Lance de Boyle and we're coming to you live from Wadarang Country here in Ballarat, the resting place of Bunja the Eagle. Pull up a drink, sit down. We hope you will enjoy tonight's episode of our wonderful show, multi-award winning as well, by the way. I am a little bit extra hyper this evening because next month in Ballarat, we're doing Pride Month with the City of Ballarat has gone above and beyond their programming for this. The current program for Pride Month is out and about. It's a reality. And I think in here there's like 42 things to do during the beautiful month of June. But I'm of the understanding that there are now 45 events happening across the course of June. So clearly like nearly 2 weeks more events than you could fit into a month if you did them one day at a time. There are all sorts of wonderful things. There is a queer little library happening for the whole of Pride Month here in Ballarat. Take a book, leave a book. It's a free little library filled with LGBTIQA+ books for all ages. There is a live queer Indigenous art exhibition by Rynell Walker. Transcending is a collection of works showcasing the works of the lovely Charlie Timms McLean, who we've had on the show. Queer Views, New Perspectives. The Art Gallery of Ballarat is well and truly on board with this. There are some wonderful people reacting to the works, one of which is Ballarat's own Gabriella Labucci. Has got a beautiful face there. Yeah, there's all sorts of weird and wonderful things happening in Ballarat during that time. Speaking of weird and wonderful things, that brings us to our guest this evening. So please be upstanding, put your hands together, put your drink down so you don't spill it. For the one, the only, Paige Duggan. Darling, look at you.
Hi.
Mwah, mwah. Oh, darling, please sit down. Make yourself at home. Make yourselves at home. Look at me. Make you all.
I'm pretty sure I'm one person, but that's fine.
Well, you know, but are you? Are you really?
Yes.
Fantastic. You are best known around these parts as being one of Ballarat's more notorious songbirds. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Oh, I suppose I am known mostly as a vocalist in Ballarat, someone who's been doing songwriting stuff and also quite a bit of jazz stuff and leading bar choirs. That's right. Love a bit of scat.
Do you clean up after yourself after you have a big scat?
Every time.
Fantastic.
It would be rude not to.
Well done. Fantastic. Now, this is not the first time you've been on the show, is it?
It is not.
You were on the original year, all the way back in 2017, as a guest on the show. All the way back then. It's been 7 years since
I know, my hair was really short and now it's crazy long and pink.
Yeah.
Times have changed.
Yeah, because that's right. Yeah, you had that sort of, not quite a fade, but it was sort of short hair and a bit.
Oh, I love me a good short back and sides haircut.
Oh,
it's good.
tidy.
Yes.
Just like you.
Thanks.
Fantastic. Did you find the new place okay?
It's not the first time I've been here, so it was okay. I did find the place okay, but I've been here in different scenarios to
Oh,
Lance
scenarios.
TV.
Oh, a woman of mystery
Juicy.
you are. Oh, fantastic. Well, thank you for making a long-awaited return to the show. We really appreciate
Thank
you
you.
making the time. No, thank you.
I mean, it wasn't too hard. I'm very glad to be here, but I do live like 4 blocks down the road. So
Will you be all right getting home?
I think I'll be okay.
Yeah, right. Okay, that's the joy of Ballarat, right?
Yeah,
Everywhere is kind of about 4
that's
blocks
right.
away from something else. Hilarious. We're going to go and do our first segment tonight, which is the Lance TV Artists Corner. Dr. Sophie has been hitting the streets again to find artists, and you'll never guess where we've landed. That's right. We're back at the TBH studios for the launch of the Queer Stories exhibition. We will be back with more Lance TV right after this.
It's truly a pleasure to have all of you here joining us in opening Ballarat Queer Stories art show. Tonight we gather here to celebrate local queer artists and their incredible ability to express themselves through art. At TBH, Ballarat Queer Stories holds a special place in our hearts. We believe in providing a safe and accepting space for queer artists to share their stories.
My name is Miles, my pronouns are he, they, and I'm a comic book illustrator. So this is 2 characters of mine that I created from my superhero universe, so Bubbles and Vex, and it's just them kissing, pretty much. Oh yeah, there's like 7 heroes at the moment that I've created, all with intertwining stories, all of the LGBT community that hopefully I'll eventually turn into a comic book. That's kind of the ultimate goal, at least.
As much as I'm really proud that we're able to host this exhibition, it's a shame it's not everywhere. Yeah. I'd love to see it everywhere. And we pride ourselves on creating a safe space here, where you can just walk in and people just sigh, go, oh, and they go, I can just be here.
I think it's a really beautiful exhibition. There's some really heartfelt stories, but one of my favourite works is a piece that has been inspired by queer stories. So Letitia has looked on queer stories and found a story of a secret cross-dressing party.
What I found really interesting is that Letitia decided to look at cross-dressing back in the 1800s, and so they had secret tea parties. And so what Letitia has done is actually incorporated that into the art, showing the teapot as the trans colours and matching it with the cup and then adding some donuts for a bit of fun.
It's really interesting. Like, I don't go out a lot, so being in an environment like this is really comforting, and it's nice to be around people who I feel like share a similar experience to me as well, and to see the way they're expressing it in an artistic form. Like, there's a lot of really cool artistic mediums here.
I'm Tanya, and I submitted an artwork into this exhibition, and it's about the journey of understanding your sexuality over time, using the butterfly to essentially document that experience of having to constantly transition between ideas.
Hi, my name's Eli and my pronouns are he, him, and I'm a photographer from Melbourne studying at RMIT, studying the Masters of Photography. My work looks at themes of gender, identity, liminality, and existing in those in-between spaces. So my photograph is one of the first print iterations from my master's project this semester, and it depicts me wearing one of my grandmother's dresses, moving through a bedroom space, and it's an exploration of gender and how my gender has shifted over time, and also how familial attitudes can either enrich or hinder queer expression.
Yeah, really enjoying just walking around and reading the stories and looking at the artwork, convivial atmosphere.
But I love also the different kind of media, so it's not just all drawings or it's not just all pastels or anything. So it's a really good, varied exhibition, so I think it's great.
My name is Peter Spring. I am an artist. I made this beautiful collage here. I basically just made it for an A4 size paper and then upscaling it to an A1, and it's just like how I feel people part of the LGBTQ plus community feels in society, and I feel like that's like a good depiction of how I felt as a person part of the LGBT community and my experience, and hopefully by sharing that story other people can relate to it.
And I am just so proud of you for sharing your voices in a very authentic and very real way, and for us to be a part of that in any way is an honour.
It's truly remarkable to witness the debut of some artists in this exhibition, and I must express how immensely proud we are of all of them. Each and every artist in this showcase deserves a resounding applause for fearlessly embracing their true selves and delving deep into the depths of their creativity. Thank you for being here tonight. Let's celebrate and support these incredible artists together.
There you go. Very exciting. Have you been up to the TBH studio yet?
I have been there, but I haven't seen that exhibition, I don't think.
Yeah, open last Saturday.
Yes.
Saturday,
Well, I
yeah.
clearly need to get down there.
Wow, and well, it's, you know where it is, and it's the rebrand from FEAR, the Female Extinction Art Rebellion or whatever it was. Yeah, so it's a rebrand from, it's the same people.
Right.
But they're rebranded.
Great.
Yeah.
Evolving and all of that's great.
Well, and that's the nature of art.
It is.
There you go. And we're exhibiting too. Like we actually got a whole bunch of footage and just, you know, pulled together a few interviews and got that rolling down there too, because it's
Awesome. Well, you should.
Well, I mean, we do a lot of art as well, you know, behind the scenes. Like I made that. And it's
Get
just
out. No,
impeccable.
you didn't, Lance.
No, I didn't. No. Our producer did though. But, you know, yeah, so we have a lot of arts components here, and Dr. Sophie does the little stingers.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so, yeah, there's been all sorts of wonderful things
So
happening.
many creatives around here, isn't there?
Yeah, and a lot of the people that we interview are creatives as well, which is, I'm sure there's something in the water here in Ballarat.
I don't know what it is, but it's working.
Well, yeah, because when I first got here in the, I think it was the mid-80s, I think it was, I really thought Ballarat was the arts capital of Victoria. There was so much happening. You know, like the Mavises were still sort of forming themselves. Mac Sharam was still sitting on a stool, sitting at the bloody, sitting at, what's that
Granary
called?
Lane?
No, not Granary. Oh, the Pancake Kitchen.
Oh, okay, completely different.
Singing Joni Mitchell numbers. And, yes, all of that stuff that was going on, and you know, it was amazing times, crazy times.
Great, and not too much cultural cringe. You didn't feel that. That's good.
No, well, you know, I might have received some of it for my notorious self, you know. If you've got anything that you would like me to pass on to Paige while we're doing the show, pop it in the thread and I'll be sure to pass it on. Just thought I'd throw that in there. Hello, everybody watching on Facebook. Welcome back, Channel 31. You're watching Let's TV. I'm Let's DeBoyle, and I'm sitting here with the one, the only, the gorgeous Paige Duggan.
Glad to be here.
Oh, good. That makes two of us.
Still happy to be here.
Yeah. Yippee. It's an up. Onwards and upwards.
Yeah.
It's become the crutch. I'm seeing that mentioned a lot along the way. Now, Paige, because you were on the show so long ago, people may have not seen that episode. And if they have, they're probably still in therapy, but still. Ding, 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 ding. With that in mind, let us resume and ask our very first question, which we've done since the beginning of Lance TV. Where were you born?
So I am a Ballarat born and bred person. So I was born here on Wadawurrung country, but I grew up outside of town, basically on the change between Wadawurrung and Djadjawurrung. So just past Creswick, yeah. So really beautiful place to grow up, and I had the mixed fortunes of being close to Ballarat, but also Dowsford. So I went to school in Dowsford.
Very hippie trippy.
Well, yes, the town is, but the school was not.
It's not. It wasn't the Gestalt school.
It was
Or
quite
Steiner.
homophobic at the time.
Don't.
Yes, I know it was chill out capital, all that, but the actual school itself, not so at the time. It is now, though, I must say. I worked there for 5 years up until recently, and the school has very inclusive now.
Yeah, fantastic. Now, at the top of the show, we called you, one of Ballarat's kind of notorious songbirds. What's your first memory of music and being creative?
I don't really have a clear first memory because my parents are both music teachers, so I grew up with music around me constantly from day dot. And I was, like, my toys were kind of like playing the piano and stuff like that. And as a child, I was always, like when I was watching TV, I would be making art at the same time. So I don't really have a clear first memory, I'm afraid. It's just my life.
Just straight immersion.
Straight in.
Like, so, hello, I'm here and let's go.
That's right.
That's amazing. What a wonderful way to come into or onto the planet, though. Like, straight in, straight out, fresh air, have art.
It was very normalised for me, and I didn't realise until well into my 20s that my parents are not the average humans. Like, my mum is a classically trained singer, so I would walk off to school in the bus stop and hear her doing her very resonant, loud warm-ups all the way down the street, and I just thought that was normal. And more recently, my dad's built a pipe organ in the house. He has a clavichord, a harpsichord. Like, that's what my parents are like, which is wonderful, a beautiful, a blessing to have. But
as soon as you went pipe organ, I went toccata and fugue. No.
Oh, he could play that. I'm sure he could.
Yeah, easy peasy. Now, for you, at 4, you were given a violin.
Yes.
And off you went.
That's right. My parents came to me and said, we have this family heirloom violin. Would you like to learn the violin so that one day you can play this? And I'm 4. I'm like, yes, mummy. And that's what happened. I didn't really choose it. I never really loved it, but I'm really grateful for what the violin gave me musically in terms of training my ear for pitch and, rhythm and beat and things like that. It's 100% you doing it, listening, feeling, And I learnt to read music on the violin as well from 4 years old, so that was great as well.
Wow.
It's like a second language. I don't have to think about it.
Well,
that's right.
You would have learned that before going to school. And like you're talking about violin and training your ear, I mean, violin is quite a loud instrument, and having something resonating so close to your ear as you're playing, you couldn't help but not get understanding of pitch and key.
Yes, it's been invaluable for sure. Even though I don't play anymore, but yeah, I'm very grateful for that opportunity I had. Yeah.
You played that till you were 16, and then you went, look at all these other things. So keyboards you've already talked about.
Yeah, I was playing piano all the time and writing little songs when I was in primary school and just working it out myself. And my dad would try and give me piano lessons, but it never works having lessons from your parents. It's just, you're just like, not today or whatever.
Given.
Yes. And then when I was I think I was about 13 or 14, I decided I wanted to learn trumpet when I got to high school. So that was the first instrument that I really 100% chose and had to have a bit of a battle with my parents to be allowed to play, because they were like, we're not having trumpet in the house. It's too loud or whatever. I know. Coming from the classical singer and the organ play, but anyway. But I really, really love trumpet, and that's where I really learnt the skills of improvisation to play. Like, I'd sort of sung, improvised singing, but yeah, I learned how to improvise and really feel music in a different way. And jazz had been something I'd loved, but it became something I really did once I started learning trumpet.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Around about that same time too, you found yourself in a choir.
It was, when I was in primary school, maybe later primary school, these random people came to the school one day, and we all had to stand around and sing the national anthem, and they listened in and they were like, oh, you can sing in tune, come to the audition. So I went and joined the Victorian State Children's Choir.
Oh no, so it wasn't just any old choir. It was
And
like,
I was
let's just do this.
I was in the performing choir, not just the plebs. I was, you know, in a robe and everything. It was very formal though, and it's taken me a long time to loosen up as a performer because you had to stand there with your hands like behind your butt, and you know, your clothes had to be a certain
like Irish
thing.
dancing, like
it was like that. It was
there's a whole
really
bunch of stuff going on, but you just can't move your arms.
That's right. It was very stiff, and you couldn't move your feet either, though. And so now I've learnt to loosen up when I'm singing. That took a bit to bang that out of me.
Amazing. You got to university, and all of a sudden you go, I'm at university, I'm going to do visual art. What happened there?
So I'd had a pretty rough year 12 where my music teacher had, good for her, fallen pregnant. And because I was at Dowsford College and I was the only year 12 music student, they didn't hire someone else to fill the position. And I wasn't put on, you know, correspondence learning. So I still did okay, but it kind of broke me a little bit and made me a bit sad. So I ended up choosing to do visual art instead. So I came here to what was once UB, University of Ballarat, and studied visual art for 3 years. And then soon after I went and studied rural social welfare as well.
Amazing. Just going back to being at University of Ballarat, so 3 years, like the first year of visual art is kind of like, just have a go at everything. Second year, what's usually the second year?
So when I was there, it was a little bit different where we did have our main disciplines. So I did a multidiscipline of drawing and painting. And then across the 3 years, you selected minors as well. So I did some photography and ceramics and printmaking and paper making and public art. But we also, somewhere along the line, did a lot of, or just through art history, I think, and those sort of conversations, we sort of explored conceptual art and art bombing and things like that. So it was a really broad opportunity to learn and really just focus on the art practice itself.
Wow. Were you out there when, excuse me, when Peter Blizzard was out there?
Yes, yeah, he was one of my ceramics teachers, yeah.
Right. And Peter Pilvin?
Yep.
As just talking ceramics?
Yeah, Peter Pilvin, Peter Pilvin is who I had. Peter Blizzard had left, but I obviously know who he was as a Ballarat artist.
Wow,
yes.
he was really quite key.
Oh, amazing.
I think from memory, Pete Blizzard did, you know, when the Pope came out in the 80s, I think it was actually Pete Blizzard who actually did that logo.
Right.
Yeah, right.
I did not know that about him.
I'm pretty sure that's right. And were you out there when Stellac was here?
Stellac did come and do a lecture when I was doing art history, but I think he'd done something more significant at the university before that.
I think he was an artist in residence for a while.
Yes. Yeah, that was before my time, but he was still connected and, you know, got to...
Did you meet him?
I probably did,
Did he laugh?
Does he have an unusual laugh or something?
I'm sure he wasn't, I'm sure he didn't have both feet on the ground. Like he'd say hi and he'd just break into laughter.
I mean, if you're going to like have an artwork that's an ear attached to your arm, you're not entirely 2 feet on the ground.
Or an ear attached to a rat attached to her arm.
That's right.
No. On hooks. No.
Oh, I loved it though, love that.
Yeah, amazing. Talking about conceptual art.
Yeah.
We need to go for a short break. When we come back, we're going to have some more of the lovely Paige Duggan. Is that all right with you?
Yes.
That's consent. We'll be back right after this. So let's see who is in the thread. Billy February, our beautiful friend over in South Australia. Billy, you didn't win the $150 million, did you? Billy February is a wonderful singer, guitarist, incredible voice and just a huge personality. There's a beautiful photo of him riding a surfboard with a hat and he's playing guitar while literally in the surf.
Very, very talented person.
Yeah, absolutely, and a really, really lovely human being. Lovely to see you in the thread, Billy. Lily Mae Martin. Mavis! Tony Louise, obsessed with their cardigan.
I know
What
it's
is your, what
good.
is, what's on it?
It's like a skeleton.
Careful of the mic.
Oh, sorry.
You're doing it deliberately.
It's a skeleton. I also have one that is a jumper that's, rib cage that gets a lot of compliments.
Very the misfits of you.
I know. I've got a little bit punk with my dyed hair that's cut really, I just hacked into it at 11 p.m. one night. My skeletons love it.
Look at you, letting go and just going with the freedom of everything. Meg Sheehan, hello darling, how's it up there on the Murray? How can I entice this queer jazz wizardry to perform in Albury-Wodonga / Northeast Victoria?
All they have to do is contact me and ask, and especially if there's some way of paying me to get there, that would be brilliant. But I would love to come up there for sure.
Can I hook the pair of you together on Facebook later?
Yes.
Probably tomorrow. There you go, Meg. I'll connect you and the lovely Paige on Facey tomorrow sometime. Elizabeth Hardiman is in the thread.
Love Lizzie.
Paige, is there an instrument you can't play that you can't yet play that you'd love to learn?
Ooh.
Also keen to learn how you animate your visual art. Well, we'll get to that. And Meg's like, please. So I'll definitely hook you two up.
Love it.
So back to the Liz Harper Francis Fenifich Timmins. I'm currently pleasantly drinking yellow chartreuse. Bless you, darling. Is there an instrument you can't play yet?
Oh, I mean, there's many, many, many. She's just being overly...
Hey, welcome back to Lance TV. You're watching us coming to you live from Ballarat. Now, darling, we've learnt so much about you. We're about to learn some more about you. Now, before we went to the break, you mentioned about conceptual art. Do you want to take us on an exploration? What is conceptual art?
Whew, well, that is a very simple and complex question.
Are you going to do it as interpretive dance?
Well, I mean, it could be. I mean, I really loved the idea of, in your youth especially, you're all like, I'm just going to force people to engage with my art, whether they like it or not. So doing things like performing art out in the street that's improvised and confrontational, is a form of conceptual art, or maybe just, thinking about art that isn't as tangible in terms of medium that you might use. And it's a very broad thing, and it evolves over time as well. So of course now I'm sure that there's ways that AI would be engaged with conceptual art, getting AI to create something and then you find a way to present it that's maybe a little bit confronting or unexpected or unusual. So yeah, and I really liked sort of art that was doing things like asking an obtuse question and then, or writing a weird poem that didn't really make sense and then plastering it in a public space, and just, you never saw how people might interact with it, but they were forced to in some way or other, or they could engage with it if they wanted to. And the outcome for them might be, a deep thought or an annoyance or inspiring to them or whatever it might be. So I really loved that conceptual art that was a little bit,
How do you feel about Yoko Ono? I mean, on the journey of conceptual art, have you got a
I haven't got a strong opinion about her. I haven't actually explored her work too much, but I think, she should do her, go her.
Yeah.
I'm all for it.
I really like it. I actually really like it, the whole making sounds and just screaming.
Oh yeah, I was in a soundcore band for a while called Cult of the Placenta Head, and
of course
I was. When I was in art school.
Do you want to just repeat that again?
Cult of the Placenta Head.
Fantastic.
Oh no, and there was another one called El Politico Incorrecto. That's the one I was in. Nice. I would take photographs of Cult of the Placenta Head back at Granary Lane that I mentioned. And I loved that band because it was 100% improvised, and I would be, there's people making weird noises into the mic, and I might be playing trumpet, and then I might be playing my violin so intensely that the horsehair on the bow is snapping, or playing it in an unusual way, and it's music not as you would expect it, and it makes you feel really uncomfortable as an audience member to watch it, but it has a place.
And another one that sprung to mind, I can't think of her first name. I want to call her Maria, but her last name's Abramovich, where she did the one where she met up with an ex-partner that they hadn't seen each other for 10 years, and she was doing this thing of sitting in the chair and just looking into the eyes of the other person. And he arrived out of the blue one day, and she actually just had to sit there and stare into his eyes, and it was amazing.
This was the one where random strangers could come and sit with her?
Yeah, and he just turned up out of the blue and sort of went, hi. They didn't speak, they just looked at each other.
And sometimes people would cry.
Yeah, and she had tears. Like
I would totally cry. I would be that person.
And that was the thing. And she sat there just for hours, like no toilet break, no nothing. She'd just sit there and people would come and sit and she'd go. And so...
I've always loved that stuff.
And then at the end, he got up and left because that was like she was in her work.
I've always really, really loved that work that's raw and vulnerable, and it's the sort of stuff that a lot of people who aren't in the arts are like, this isn't art, or they might be like, this is art wank or whatever. But I feel like they don't get it. Yeah, they don't understand, and it totally has a place in pushing boundaries and in having conversations.
What about fashion? You know, we sometimes see these wonderful works of art on catwalks, and then everyone, like, you see them on social media going, what? And it's like you're missing the point of like, it's not like a pair of jeans and a shirt.
Yes.
You're looking at art.
Yes.
What do you think about that?
I think it totally has a place as well. And I do love the way people react to it though. Like, I love watching social media where there's people having a laugh about it and recreating the costumes in their own way. Like, there is a place for that too. But yeah, if you're just like, what a waste of money or time or whatever, you know, maybe there's a capitalist kind of idea that is perhaps true, but it's about exploring material. It's about, you know, having a conversation with an audience. That runaway exhibition is an exhibition. It wasn't about fashion for people to wear. It's about expression. Yeah. I love it.
and for you as well, you undertook a project just the other year, Continuous Voices here in Ballarat. Do you want to tell us what Continuous Voice, what the project was about, and then tell us about your role in it?
So that's something that's still sort of ongoing a little bit. So the City Ballarat, along with other organisations, are wanting to build a memorial in Ballarat for survivors of childhood sexual abuse. And rather than getting survivors and interested parties in the community to fill out surveys to say what they think the memorial should be, or just coming up with something themselves, which is like completely at odds with what we should be doing with survivors, the main thing is we need to listen. But they decided to take a really interesting and really inventive approach to sourcing their kind of material to design the memorial, which was arts-based research. So they got a bunch of different artists and different mediums to then facilitate with, I think you've had Mitch on before. Mitch, last name escapes me, but we facilitated groups, and so we had survivors and lateral survivors, so friends and family of survivors come and do these workshops and create artwork to then be presented to the designers to help them inform how to actually design the memorial. And so the group that I was in, we're called Words Out. It's myself and Jeffrey Hassel, who some Ballarat people might know.
Yeah, Jeffrey plays guitar.
And drums,
with
amazing.
The dementia choir.
That's right.
Yeah.
And George Williams as well, who Ballarat people might know.
Who's Jeff's dad?
No, Jeffrey Williams' wife, actually.
I'll just stop talking.
Georgina Williams. So we called Words Out, and we ran these workshops with participants where we did songwriting, spoken word, film sort of creation, clip things. And us as lead artists also had the opportunity to reflect on what we'd experienced in that process and make artworks as well. That's with the designers at the moment. They're going to start working out what to actually build, or what is it, a building, is it a artwork, is it a garden, what is the memorial actually going to be?
Yeah.
That's right. But it's going to be up at the North Gardens.
Nice.
Vic Gardens.
How, as an artist leaning into such a heavy state of mind as survivors of childhood sexual abuse. How was that for the artists?
So we'd done a bit of that work before, the three of us with Wild at Heart, working with adults with mental health and psychiatric health issues, a lot of who are survivors. And I was very clear that when we started this Continuous Voices project that I wanted us to have regular debrief and actually have a counsellor on site at each session, as well as access to a counsellor throughout the project and afterwards. We also had a debrief
and that was
with a counsellor.
Also access for the participants.
That's right,
as well.
Available for the artists, for the participants, and in fact the counsellors became essential members of the group as well because they had their own experiences and knowledge and everything. But that was like essential, and they were CASA workers.
And amazing frontline workers too.
Absolutely, and of course underfunded and understaffed, but you know, really dedicated, knowledgeable, amazing human beings. Yeah,
amazing. We might just leave it there at this point, and we'll take another short break. But when we come back, we're going to have some more Paige Duggan right after this.
Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
So we left off on Facebook that Harper Francis Finitash Timmins was pleasantly drinking some yellow chartreuse. Ooh la la, darling. Ducky Harrison, is that a name that works for you? Paige brought me to Granary Lane, thus forever altering the course of my life in a good way.
Oh, I'm glad to hear that.
In brackets,
I know.
in a good way.
Yeah, Ducky Harrison and I used to hang out there a lot together. Good times.
Who used to run Granary Lane?
Well, it was Pat McKay, not Pat McKay, Paddy O'Driscoll,
Paddy
sorry.
O'Driscoll, that's right.
And then Kiri Smart took over. And so I was there when Kiri Smart was there. I didn't quite get the, what was it, the bridge, I forget what it's called, the other pub that...
The Ridgemore Inn?
Yeah. I was a little bit too young for that.
Yeah, because Banana Arcade started there, so that was Paddy Bath and Mick Dogg and that crew. And
that's where we had our El Politico gigs and all of that. It was great.
Rex and Shep.
Wonderful. It was such a great space and community space and inclusive place for all of us
Where
quirky
was
folk.
Granary Lane?
It's on Doveton Street.
I wasn't here for that bit.
Literally a little shop, Doveton Street. And now there's a new Granary Lane bar opened in Ballarat. That has nothing to do with it.
A world away from what the other... The other one would have been quite gritty.
Oh, it was very gritty, very dirty, and like in a good way. Good dirty. There was a bar at the front,
like
and then out the back.
Like upstairs of the main bar. Did it have that feel?
Yeah, but even more like arty, gritty goodness. Nice. And then out the back, it had this huge, big open space where performances would happen and exhibitions would happen. I had a few exhibitions there as well. And like those really confrontational exhibitions would happen there. Like Shane Vandenacker did one where he was hung by hooks and slashed and things.
Right.
Yeah, like, oh my God, freak out stuff.
Yeah. Amazing. That would have been who cleaned up that night?
I don't know, he went to the hospital, so.
Yeah, right. Oh,
him.
Maybe the hooks weren't in properly.
No, it was, proper.
Yeah, very stellar.
Slice and dice, yes.
And by 1,000 cuts.
Well, yeah.
Welcome back. You're watching Let's TV. I am still Lance Boyle, and we are still with the lovely Paige Duggan. Fancy seeing you.
I know.
It's like you're just not going anywhere.
I haven't moved at all. It's fantastic. I love sitting here.
Yeah, look at you. Fantastic. We're almost mimicking each other's sentences. It's great. Now, moving forward to more recent times, 2022, you received some funding through Creative Victoria and Regional Arts Victoria to create an album. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, so I got the Music Works grant through Creative Victoria, which is a coveted, wonderful thing to get. And I also got the Sustaining Artists Initiative grant through RAV. And included in both of them was some extra funding to help me make sure that I took care of myself as a disabled person in the process and could help me to make sure that the final product when I get to performances is really deaf and disabled inclusive.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, I got grant money to compose new music, so I properly sat down and composed every instrument and improvised things and worked it all out.
So technically you wrote the score.
Yes, I wrote the score for everything, apart from improvised bits and the drums. I don't do the drums.
I don't
Madison
do drums.
Carter do drums, then
Maybe that goes back to Liz's question in the Facebook chat about there's an instrument, maybe it's drums.
I'd love to play drums, but that's it. That's the one. So then I had to transcribe everything. I collaborated with a bunch of new musicians, most of who I haven't played with before. We recorded. I did a huge amount of digital artwork to then inform abstract art animation that I've created, that then becomes the film clips for the tracks when I put them online, but also at performances they're projected.
Oh,
so
back to the 60s.
Yes,
Love
and
it.
they're pretty psychedelic kind of vibes at times too, so quite 60-ish. And I was a very deaf and disabled accessible gigs is what I've been doing, and I hope to continue to do as well. So obviously the projections are in that, but I have an accessibility table with fidgets and drawing materials and masks and balloons so that people who are hard of hearing can hold balloons and feel vibrations and all sorts of stuff. And made sure the venues are really access friendly. So I've just finally wound up all of that funding, but I'm hoping to continue the actual project and take it to more places and festivals and things like that.
Amazing. With the album, talk to us about what are the themes?
It is a concept album, really, but every song definitely has its own personality. I don't like writing albums that sound like one long, boring thing. Every song sounds differently.
Bells is pretty good, but anyway. No.
But it was really inspired by my exploring cosmology and particle physics and learning about consciousness and life. So during COVID times, I started binge listening like crazy to science podcasts and watching documentaries, especially loving the work of Professor Brian Cox. So a lot of...
Who is Professor Brian Cox? I know, and Cheryl was just off camera as soon as the name was mentioned. I was like, yes!
I saw him live too. Oh, it was so good.
So who is this person?
My God!
I know.
Okay, he's a British scientist who also does, and he's very, 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 very intelligent, but he also does a lot of science education.
How intelligent is he? No. Very, 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 very.
Add another very in there.
Okay, nice.
But he does a lot of science education. So he has podcasts, he makes documentaries with BBC, he writes books, he does these massive tours where, thousands and thousands of people come to see him talk. But he's a particle physicist, essentially, and
Wow.
He worked on the Higgs boson and all that,
Wow.
But he kind of dabbles in lots of science and loves it all. But the way he talks about science is really accessible to someone like me who didn't engage with science. I loved it, believed in it, thought it's important, but just thought I didn't have that switch in my brain growing up. And I've learnt, I do actually. And I've become a science educator myself now through this project, which is really unexpected and wonderful. He's also a musician, so the name of the song that he was famous for, Things Can Only Get Better.
Like things can only get better. Is that Dream?
Yeah, and he played the keyboard in that.
Hilarious.
So sometimes in his documentaries, he's playing little songs on some rickety piano in Peru or something, So I was really inspired by his work and lots of, there's lots of sort of little quotes and nuggets in the album of things that he said, because he's very poetic in how he expresses things so beautifully. And it was COVID times. I wanted to look outside myself and, embrace the universe and learn about that. But in doing that, I also ended up writing some very personal tracks as well, which was not expected.
Well, so what is it? So above, so below?
Yeah, and I was, particle physics and stuff, it's about learning about the tiniest little things and how the universe is made of that stuff.
Billions and billions of tiny little things.
That's right. And where does consciousness and life fit into that? Well, I have a life and I'm conscious and I'm feeling things, and I'm looking at the universe and seeing orbital resonance, learning about what that means, and then seeing it reflected in my own relationships. And then like, well, I have to write a song that relates to that now, don't I? Yeah.
Wow. Wow. So this has really taken you on a journey.
Yes.
Through taking other people on a journey as well.
Yeah.
You've got the album here. You've got a hard copy of it.
I know.
Where can people find this?
So obviously you can purchase it from me via Instagram or my website, and you can go to Bandcamp as well. And I strongly encourage you to buy the actual thing so I can feed myself and my children and make some money towards doing more creation and feel a little bit validated as the, poor, sad artist that I am. It's hard being a tortured artist sometimes.
It was well played.
Yes. And I've just put it on Spotify, but I do really encourage people to find it through Bandcamp. You can listen to it like 3 times without paying, but please, buy it. It's also online on YouTube, which is also another free way to access it. But if you watch on YouTube, you'll see like all of the clips. All of the artwork I've made is on the YouTube. So if you just put into YouTube my name or Cosmos Made Conscious, you'll find it.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Paige Duggan, you are an incredible human being. Thank you for making a return to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for being had. With that all in tow, we have some gifts for you.
I love gifts.
One is this wonderful little bag from Tiny Pride. That's for you. And inside is a little badge. You can read that out if you like.
I'm not going to read it out loud because it's got swear words on it.
Yeah, right.
Matchy though.
Matchy, yeah, totally, always. So tiny
Thank you.
Pride bag.
Thanks so much.
There is, I'm going to give you the Pride Month program.
Yes, please.
So you know what's happening around
Thank
town
you.
during the jolly month of June. We also have a volunteer handbook for you for the Festival of Australian Queer Theatre. You might like to consider coming on board. And lastly,
what have you got here?
Is a framed photo of me saying I was on Let's TV, and that's for you.
Oh, I love it. Oh my gosh. Oh, I know just where to put that.
Yeah, I get a lot of that. We've talked a lot about your music.
Yes.
We are actually going to share some of Paige's music with you now before the break. The song is called Over and Out.
Mm-hmm.
Just really quickly, what's the resonance of that?
It's about sound. It's about my relationship with my dad, forward driving across Australia as a child using radios.
CBs and...
Yeah, like over, got a copy, Dad. Yeah, got a copy, Dad, over and out, all that radio language tied in with cosmology.
Amazing.
Yes.
So enough talking, let's have some music and we'll see you after the break.
And so now I hear it over the light waves, 'cause nothing is stronger than a small hope on repeat. It doesn't let up, so just keep on moving. Let your people find you, light them up, you're all complete. Over and out, oh, over and out. Be the light that is found, be inside. voices. 'Cause scars and mess find tenderness waiting in the wings. Things may have been choppy, sometimes tales turn bittersweet. But time is time, it's never wasted, though time does not repeat. Over and out, over and out, be the light that is found, be inside the sound. Over and out, over and out, be the light that is found, be inside the sound.
We hope you enjoyed our interview with Paige Duggan. If you would like to find out more about what Paige is up to, you can head over to her Facebook page at Paige Duggan Jazz. Lance TV will be back right after this. Megan from Holtz is in the thread. Hello everybody on Facebook. Megan says, go Paige.
Love Megs. She's a champion. She's an artist too. Have you had her?
Not yet.
Ooh, you got to
Megan,
get her on.
We need to talk.
Yes.
And Megan also says, amazing, so full, mesmerising. Do you get that said often?
No, but I like it.
Perform mesmerising?
I get all sorts of adjectives, but I like mesmerising.
Yes.
I'll just
It's
put
very
that here.
Sarah Vaughan with a cold. Mesmerising. No. I'm glad I saw that. That was a real message. Because as soon as I went, oh, it's Sarah Vaughan Misty, I went, oh, Paige Duggan. Oh, wait, isn't it Paige?
Yeah,
No.
I love Sarah Vaughan singing Misty. It's in Europe, some country, doesn't speak the
Stockholm, I
language.
think.
Yeah, and she's like sweating buckets.
Yeah, she was unwell.
She's
And
like
that-
talking up here, and then she's like, look.
And that humbleness is, I'm sorry, I don't speak your language.
Yes.
And then everyone just sort of went, yes.
Beautiful.
You know? Bernadette Robson. Love you, my gorgeous friend. Big red love heart.
One of my
for her.
oldest friends. Beautiful, beautiful,
How
beautiful.
old is Bernadette?
How old is she?
Well, you said one of your oldest friends. How old is she? No. She's 92. She's the oldest person I know, and she's my friend. No?
No, she's not. She's a friend from high school, let me put it that way, okay?
A long-term
Long friend.
She's a long friend. How tall is she?
About the same height as me, actually.
Oh, really? So, yeah, right. Words. Elizabeth Hardiman, loved Over and Out. Heavenly voice. What a beautiful and clever human.
Liz is another person you should get in here if you haven't already. Do you
Talk to
know
me
Liz? You've got to get Liz.
Talk to me about Liz.
Well,
I know
she's at CAFS and she's like the queen of inclusivity down there, and she's taking charge of the queer youth club and all of that.
I also hear that Liz is a bit of a musical.
She is a music theatre star.
Musical theatre
Beautiful
leanings.
actor as well, like very
Really?
talented actor.
I've never seen Liz act. Or maybe I have, but it's only been in real life and I've mistaken it for real life and not an act. I don't know.
You might recognise her when you see her.
Yeah,
She's
I'm
great.
sure I will. Welcome back. You're watching Lance TV. It's time for All Over the Shop. On May 25th here in Ballarat, Heritage Harvest Weekend is on at Bradshaw Street. That starts at 10, goes the whole weekend till 5 o'clock. Reconciliation Day is coming. The Taken. It is an exhibition opening and talk by the photographer about stolen generations, Ballarat Library on Sunday the 26th. On Friday, May the 31st is a pub sing, Voices for Reconciliation, and that's at the Tap Room at the Shed Shaker Brewing. On the 1st of June, the 45th birthday party, a celebration of music and community culture. That's on at the Collingwood Town Hall. Latte with an LLO with GV Pride Hub Shepparton. at Unit 4, 2222 Maud Street. That's on the 7th of June. Albury-Wodonga is having a Pride Night through having a celebration of colour, community and cinema at Dean Street up there in Albury. Hello if you're watching in Albury. On Sunday the 9th from 2 o'clock, The Trustful, Julian Assange. It's a film that's on at the Centre for Craft, Creativity and Consciousness here in Ballarat. On June 14th, Pride Craftivism workshop at TBH Studio in the Bridge Mall there, and that's from 5:30 in the evening. Our good friend Wendy Rule is making a return to Australia. There is a gig in Geelong at the Monastery on the 16th of June. Rainbow Coffee Portraits, photos taken by our very own Cheryl Zlossi. 22 of June, Rainbow Coffee Portraits, and that'll be at the Sebastopol Library. The Mansfield Lantern Festival is on this year, 22nd of June from 4 till sometime in the evening. That looks like a ripper event. Ballarat Roller Derby on the 4th of August is having their committee meeting out there at the Doug Dean Reserve. That's the home of Ballarat Roller Derby. And of course, the Festival of Australian Queer Theatre is coming up on the 22nd through to the 25th of August. Keep your eye on the socials, faqt.au. Promotions will be happening very, very soon. Very soon indeed. I want to ask you a very quick question. All over socials over, I don't know, the last week or so has been the conversation about bear or man. Like if you were in the middle of a forest, would you prefer to be in the middle of a forest with a bear or in the middle of a forest with a man?
Look, given that I myself have been and continue to at times experience family violence, I think the answer is probably pretty clear that I would choose the bear. And it's also why I've got this T-shirt on tonight, because Dangerous Females is an organisation, Australian organisation that you buy their T-shirts, 100% of profits go to agencies that support women escaping family violence. So, bear every time.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it's definitely been an interesting conversation.
It has. I mean, unless it's my dad or someone I know, like my kids, but if it's a stranger, I'll go with bear.
Yeah, and I think it's...
no offence to you, Lance. I'm sure you're very safe in the woods.
Well, it depends on what type of bear I'm with. Just putting it out there. But yeah, it has been like given the global climate
and Ballarat's climate. Geez, this year.
Well, the march in Ballarat that happened a month or so ago that Sissy Austin put together, and that outpouring. Dr. Sophie and I were here putting things together, and Sophie was like, "Oh, we need to go on the march," and we collected footage and came back that night, and Sophie put it together, and we played it that night. It was powerful.
There's a lot of grief and anger and pain, and it's a big.
You have been an amazing human being, and you will continue to do so after the show, I'm sure. Thank you so much again for appearing on the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm happy to come back anytime. Maybe not as long as it's been this time. Maybe a bit sooner might be good.
Look at you trying to let's do your people.
Weasel my way in.
That's right. Well done, you. To those watching at home, thank you so much for taking the time with us over the last hour. We will see you next week. In the meantime, remember, be kind.
Thanks for watching Lance TV. We'll be back same time next week. Lance TV is made possible through funding from the Community Broadcasting Foundation. I'm voiceover guy Randall Smith. See you next time.